Video games have always been an incredible form of art and a showcase of a developer's creativity and passion for their projects. And it's evolved throughout time ever since the physicist William Higginbotham made Pong back in October of 1958, instead of doing important physics stuff. But a somewhat overlooked element of video games gives it more charm and personality more than anything, and that is video game music. So here are my personal favourite video game OSTs of all time, in no particular order because, I love them all equally. Let's just get out of the way, because everybody is expecting it. Undertale is an excellent game about friendship, betrayal, skeletons, and murder. And the music that comes with it is a perfect way to bring its world to life. Composed by the developer of the game, Toby Fox, he uses the music to complement the gameplay, and uses the gameplay to complement the music. And just, holy f***, it's incredible. Toby Fox uses this thing called leitmotifs, which defined by Google means a reoccurring theme throughout a musical or literary composition, associated with a particular person, idea, or situation. Take this part of the game where you meet the character Metaton. He's a flamboyant, obnoxious robot who's obsessed with being on the stage, and his theme reflects that in his character. When he blasts through Alphys's laboratory in Chapter 3, it plays the song It's Showtime, which represents that of a game show theme tune, further emphasising that Metaton likes to be in the spotlight and that he's always the centre of attention. And then there's the newscasting version where Metaton is reporting on Frisk as he's going through the Hotlands. But that's not all. When you finally reach Metaton and begin to fight him, you flick a switch on his back that turns him into his true form, Metaton X.
Oh, yes.
And then the OST Death by Glamour plays, and well, just have a listen for yourself. As you can tell, the theme is very disco pop-esque that fits the vibe of the fight, almost turning it into a sort of dance battle, and it's one of my favourite tracks from an already amazing sounding OST. But that's not the only game that Toby Fox has made music for. There's the sequel to Undertale, Deltarune, with tracks like Rude Buster, and he even worked on the Battle Tower theme in the latest Pokemon games. Ah, God, I love it when Nintendo recognises talent. Gold star, Nintendo. Good job, buddy. Next up, we're going to talk about a lovely little game called The Messenger. It's an 8-bit side-scrolling platformer beat-em-up, Christ that's a lot of genres, where you play as a ninja whose village gets attacked by this thick demon dude, and he's told to send a scroll to the future. What's special about this game is that it presents the future in a 16-bit art style, whereas the past is depicted in an 8-bit art style. And that's the same for the music too. Whenever the ninja runs through a portal to the future, the music changes from 8-bit to 16-bit. The OST of The Messenger is composed by American death metal electronic dance artist Rainbow Dragon Eyes. He does an amazing job at creating high-paced, intense arcade-like music that makes the player feel so much more hyped up to throw shurikens at mushrooms. It fits in so perfectly with the gameplay that it almost feels like you're jumping and grappling along to the beat of a track that's playing throughout a level. I mean, come on! You know when a video game has good music when it has a goddamn jukebox in the pause menu. Mwah! Beautiful! I seriously can't recommend this game enough. The music and the gameplay is just absolutely incredible. With smooth controls and a great story with some hilarious dialogue, it is probably one of the best games that Devolver Digital has published. Okay, so next up we've got an incredibly small game. I doubt anybody knows about it. It's called Minecraft? I don't know if anybody's heard of it, but the music's pretty good. All jokes aside, Minecraft is considered one of the most popular games in the world. With so many people playing it throughout the years, it's hard not to add it to my list of favourite video games of all time. And the music in Minecraft is this explosion of nostalgia that just brings you back to 2012 when life was perfect. Well, at least for me. Composed by C418 as well as Lena Raine, the soundtrack for Minecraft perfectly captures that feeling of exploring a new world for the first time, having endless possibilities in the palm of your hands, whether it's running towards a village, building a giant castle, or building a pixel art of the Griffin family from Family Guy like I did. Somehow, all of this relaxing music just fits. Let's listen to the song Mice on Venus. Although the majority of the tracks in Minecraft are so classic, this is the one I associate with Minecraft the most, because it brings me back to when I didn't even have the full game on 360. So I would just play through the trial version on the tutorial world over and over again, just trying to explore and find new things as quick as I could before the trial ended. And Mice on Venus was always the one that I loved listening to, especially the second part of the track where it gets faster and more upbeat. It always reminded me of Harry Potter for some reason. And then you have the music discs, Chirp, Style, and my personal favourite, Wait. These music discs are so different to the main tracks heard throughout the game, but they're just so damn good. I can't tell you how many times I've listened to these music discs in-game whilst just digging out a massive hole in one of my worlds. Everything about the Minecraft OST is just perfect, and it gives me so much nostalgia for when I was 11, building a house out of dirt and hiding from mobs during the night. It's simply spectacular, and it will always have a place in my heart. Okay, so now that we've got all that soppy shit out of the way, Tekken 7, baby! Tekken 7 is a complex fighting game where you can punch the shit out of literally anybody. Belle Delphine, a bear and a panda, a fat guy named Bob, Noctis from Final Fantasy 15, Negan from The Walking Dead. What is this roster, dude? And it's considered one of the most popular fighting games, rivaling Street Fighter. And the OST is incredible. It fits in so perfectly with every fight, each track filling you up with so much adrenaline. Whether it's Jungle Outpost version 2, Infinite Azure, Heat Haze Shadow, or even the goddamn character select music. I just love how each track is so different to one another. A notable example of this is the track Duomo di Stereo. It's so different from the other tracks in Tekken 7, but it still absolutely kicks ass, especially when the guitar solo and the vocals kick in. Just glorious. And then you've got the music on the stage Infinite Azure, specifically the second version. It's this liquid drum and bass track that's reminiscent of some of the Monster Cat songs that are in Rocket League. It's so relaxing, yet it still fills you with so much adrenaline, and that's what I adore about this game's OST. And then you've got the remixes of songs from other video games. The Howard Estate Stage's final round track is a heavy metal version of the Fatal Fury track Soy Sauce for Geese. It's very recognisable, but also has that Tekken sound that we all know and love. I started playing Tekken about 3 years ago, so I'm still relatively new to the franchise, and the older games most likely have even better music. But this OST really sticks out as a hype fighting game soundtrack, and that's all I could ask for, really. There's just something so invigorating about punching a panda in the face and then listening to this play in the background. Also, whilst we're here, can I just say I am so excited for Tekken 8. The announcer sounds insanely good.
Tekken 8! New challenger!
Keeping up with the theme of hype intense music, we've got the Doom Eternal OST and the Doom 2016 OST. Insert obligatory "this OST makes me want to butter my biscuit, etc." joke. Honestly, I'd be an idiot if I didn't mention Doom music, because it's just so amazing. While the classic game's music is still great for nostalgia, Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal's OST is the perfect music to rip and tear to. Despite all of his beef with Bethesda in the past, Mick Gordon is a bloody genius, no pun intended. He doesn't just use instruments like any normal artist, this motherfucker uses lawnmowers and chainsaws! Who comes up with that? Bro thinks he's Denji. It's almost as if Mick Gordon brainwashes you with his soundtrack. Every time I hear it, I just want to commit mass genocide. He's pretty much created a completely new genre of music with this OST, and I'm so glad that they revived the Doom series back in 2016, because I just wouldn't have ever properly known about the Doom series and its amazing music. It's just so great and the best fit for such an intense and violent game. No other game's soundtrack has made me feel so heated, so ready for such an intense battle. So now we're going to talk about a groundbreaking and innovative indie game that holds a very special place in my heart. Cuphead. This amazing boss rush run and gun platformer known for its authentic 1930s cartoon rubber band animation, art style, and of course, its incredible soundtrack. I've got to give respect to Studio MDHR for making this game a reality. Not only did they work on it for 10 years, but they took a mortgage out on their houses to hire more people to work on the game, and it definitely turned out great for them too. Not only have they released DLC for the game, but Cuphead's popularity spawned a cartoon show on Netflix. Seriously, big props guys. Composed by Christor Madigan, Cuphead's soundtrack is inspired from the 30s style of jazz and ragtime music, each song played by live musicians, including a 13-piece band, a pianist, tap dancers, vocalists, and a 10-piece ragtime ensemble. Fucking hell, they really went out all on this OST, huh? Each boss has a unique theme that plays when you fight them, and they all follow the same theme of light-hearted, fast jazz, mixed with the beautiful animations that fit the rhythm of the track as well as the vibrant colours and aesthetics that truly brings the boss fights to life. And then you have the Run and Guns levels music. It's whimsical and fun, just like the theme tune to a 30s sitcom. By the way, did anyone else think that this part of Funfair Fever kinda sounded like the start of the athletic theme from Super Mario World? Like, that's uncannily similar. Additionally, the overworld themes mimic the sort of jolly music that would play throughout an old 1930s cartoon, and each world has a different style. The first overworld theme is cheerful and upbeat, symbolising the start of Cuphead and Mugman's adventure. The second world theme sounds like a swingy theme park which adheres to the second overworld's environment, which is, you guessed it, a big theme park. The third overworld theme incorporates blue jazz, almost sounding like an old, stereotypical detective movie.
We gotta beat the devil and save Inkwell Isle, Mugman, come on!
And then there's the final overworld theme, Inkwell Hell. It's a smoother, slowed down version of the third overworld theme. Only a few instruments are used, giving more suspension to the final fight. This is where Cuphead and Mugman's adventure started, and this is where it all ends. And then the final boss music kicks in and slaps you right in the face. With all of its glorious trumpets, saxophone solos, and fast percussion, it's the perfect final boss music for a game like Cuphead. Even Cuphead himself fears the devil. All the music in Cuphead is incredible, and I recommend listening to the rest of the soundtrack. Seriously, you won't be disappointed. Play the game too. It's unforgivingly difficult, but it is great fun. Whew, man, I've talked about a lot of video game music in this video, haven't I? How about we talk about just a couple more? Persona 5 is an amazing game about a group of teenagers called the Phantom Thieves breaking into the cognitions of corrupted adults and stealing their distorted desires in the most flashy and stylish ways possible. The jazz-inspired soundtrack is what makes Persona 5 really stand out to other JRPGs. There's just so many amazing songs that I don't even know where to start. Let's listen to the track Beneath the Mask. It's the song that you hear the most throughout your time in Tokyo, and has 3 different versions. The first one is the nighttime version that has vocals by the amazing Lin Inaizumi, who's also done vocals for other songs in the OST.
Where have you been? Been searching all along, confessing twilight on and on.
And then there's the instrumental version where the lyrics are replaced by a clav keyboard, which is played during the daytime. And then there's the rainy day version that is played without any percussion to enhance the sound of the rainfall. It's such a relaxing part of the soundtrack, and it almost makes me feel a little nostalgic. Then you've got the other overworld themes like Tokyo Daylight, which plays after you finish with a day of school. It's a very upbeat song that I think encapsulates that feeling that you get when you're walking back home from school and you're excited to hang out and chill with your friends. And then there's the shop themes like Layer Cake that plays when you enter Munehisa Iwai's airsoft shop, Untouchable. It sounds intimidating at first, but then it gets a lot more laid back and chilled. Sort of like Iwai himself. Despite being an ex-Yakuza, he only wants the best for the protagonist and his adopted son Kaoru. And then you have Butterfly Kiss, which is heard in the clinic near the protagonist's house. This is where you go to buy health items and shit for when you're about to enter a palace. And all I have to say about this OST is, how the f*** did they make waiting to buy drugs from a hot goth nurse so goddamn groovy? Like seriously, I haven't been this hyped to go to a doctor's appointment ever. Okay, so that's the overall themes out of the way. Let's get to the cream of the crop, the motherfucking battle music! battle music in Persona 5 is probably some of the best battle music I've ever heard in a video game ever. The main battle theme, Last Surprise, is such a classic theme that whenever I'm taking the bus or just walking to work, I listen to it to hype myself up. With amazing vocals by Lin Inaizumi once again, as well as the upbeat bass and violins, it makes fighting shadows and a demon sitting on a toilet even more stylish.
You never see it coming. You say that my mind is too fast for eyes. You're done but the time is hit you. You're not surprised.
Whew, I rambled on about Persona for quite a bit there. Can you tell I like this game?
Okay, buddy. Let's move along.
Oh, hell yeah. As a game, Earthbound was way ahead of its time. It's a splendidly strange RPG about kids fighting off hippies, aliens, and eventually the physical embodiment of all evil, and it stands strong as one of my top 10 favourite games of all time. As for Earthbound's OST, it amplifies the sheer peculiarity of the game, like when I encounter the literal painting as an enemy, and the battle music kicks in. Yup, this game has a few screws loose. Let's not forget about Sanctuary Guardian either. This is probably the most recognisable track from the game, simply because it's been memed to death by the internet. But it stays with the game's weird tone. The soundtrack alternates between fun, jaunty melodies, surreal metallic ambience, and even sometimes just downright creepy songs. I'm serious, there were points in the game where the music alone was setting off my fight or flight response. Take a listen for yourself. Overall though, Earthbound is a timeless classic with an OST that is filled to the brim with amazing music that makes the game even more charming. It's just a shame that Nintendo refuses to release Mother 3 outside of Japan, because Earthbound is a beloved game. You know what? I'm taking this damn gold star off you, Nintendo. Release Mother 3, please! Okay, we're finally on to the last game that I want to talk about. Can you guess what it is? It's none other than Final Fantasy VII. I know, I'm basic for calling it my favourite, but you have to admit, this OST is amazing. There's just so many tracks that resonate with me personally. Final Fantasy VII alone was probably one of the most important games of its time, defining RPGs for generations to come, and with good reason. The rich story and likeable characters made it so memorable, along with such an interesting set of environments. Midgar, Wutai, Wall Market, Costa del Sol, Cosmo Canyon, the Gold Saucer, just all of them. They all have unique designs that make you care about saving the people living there. Not to mention, this game spawned one of the most recognisable villains in video game history, Sephiroth. But I'm getting ahead of myself. This is a video about the music, not the actual game. So we've established what makes the game so great, but what about the music? Uematsu's intention was to treat the soundtrack like that of a film soundtrack, creating songs that reflect the tone of particular scenes in the game, rather than having the soundtrack full of songs that wouldn't be as memorable. For example, Aerith's theme conveys this overwhelming feeling of sadness when, spoiler alert, the character Aerith dies, but it encapsulates the tragic relationship between Aerith and Cloud. They're both perfect for each other, but the fate of the universe won't allow them to be together. Fuck you, Sephiroth. Not all songs in this OST make you want to cry your eyes out though. You've got the opening music, the Bombing Mission OST. I love this song for many reasons. It's the first song you hear when you start up the game, except for the prelude music, and it's accompanied by one of the greatest openings to a video game ever. And if you've played Final Fantasy VII, you know what I'm talking about. And how can I not talk about the battle music? Each battle becomes an intense rush of adrenaline that only gets better as each part of the song plays. There's so many different battle themes. Let the Battles Begin, which is the main battle theme, plays when you meet a normal enemy, be that a Shinra or a monster in the overworld. Whatever you're fighting, this track always makes the fight seem so intense and epic. Fight On is the main boss battle theme. When the Airbusters showed up and this theme kicked in for the first time, I was genuinely in shock. This theme is just so good! I can never grow tired of it. The speed of it and the variations of instruments make every single boss fight fight memorable even to this day. The number of different notes used in this theme are on a scale that no other Final Fantasy song can ever top. Well, except for maybe one. One Winged Angel is the theme that plays throughout the final boss fight against Sephiroth in his god form. This theme is so special because it's one of the first video game themes to use digitized vocals, defining it as Nobuo Uematsu's most recognizable contribution to the Final Fantasy series. And to make things even greater, the vocals were sung in Latin! Though One Winged Angel is great, the two boss themes that precede it are equally as good, if not better in my opinion. Jenova's theme is incredible because it has these alien-like synths that reflect Jenova as a whole. The fact that she's this gross, terrifying alien parasite that's taken over a Cetra body gives the theme so much more meaning. And then there's the theme Birth of a God, which is criminally underrated. It's so familiar to the final boss themes of past games, even having the same bassline as the battle theme from Final Fantasy V, and all of this makes it a solid song that I kind of prefer to One Winged Angel. All the songs in Final Fantasy VII's soundtrack are incredible, although a lot of people complain that it still sounds quite dated now compared to the soundtracks in later entries, but personally, I think they still sound pretty damn great. It's safe to say that I adore everything about the original game's soundtrack. As for the remake's music... It takes the original soundtrack and cranks it up to 11. Not only does it include incredible new versions of the old songs, but it features a bunch of completely new tracks that fits the game's now modern gameplay style. Final Fantasy VII's remake soundtrack really means a lot to me, considering that it was my personal game of the year back in 2020, and I think this soundtrack alone is what inspired me to make this video. There's just so many songs that makes this game so memorable to me. I really love the tracks Collapsed Expressway and High Five. Collapsed Expressway, composed by Mitsuto Suzuki, truly made me feel like I was playing a classic Final Fantasy RPG. The progression sounds so damn nice, especially when that violin kicks in. It almost makes me tear up every time I hear it. And then you've got High Five, which kicks in whenever you encounter an enemy in the Collapsed Expressway area. I love this track so much because it's so intense and beautiful at the same time. Plus I love how the two songs transition into each other so smoothly. Actually kinda sounds like a Tekken song now that I think about it. One of the many things about the Final Fantasy VII Remake OST is that there's so many different variations of Let the Battles Begin, including the orchestral version composed by Uematsu himself, the part of the motorcycle chase around the end of the game which just sounds so great. And I never thought I wanted the drum and bass of that theme until I heard it in the game. The theme when Tifa does the pull-up and squatting minigames, which I used to listen to at the gym. What else can I talk about? Oh yeah! Just like when I heard the original version, I freaked out when I heard this for the first time. I cannot express how insane this track is, especially when it's playing over the fight with the Airbuster. There's so many amazing segments in this song, like this beautiful guitar solo part. One thing I don't really like about the remake though is that you only hear these awesome songs only a few times in the whole game. But, you know, I suppose that can't really be helped. There is a lot of awesome music in this game. I genuinely love the Final Fantasy series, especially Final Fantasy VII. It's not perfect, but the amazing story, characters, and of course the incredible soundtrack is what makes it so damn special to me. So that's my list. I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble on. Sorry if I got any facts wrong, but at the end of the day, this is just a video about appreciating video game music. Of course there's plenty other video games that have equally amazing music, if not better, but the soundtracks I used in this video are personally the ones that I love the most. If you made it this far into the video, let me know in the comments what your favourite video game soundtrack is. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Oh shit, I forgot about Mario Galaxy. Oh well, too late now. Subscribe to my channel. Goodbye!